In this video, I'm going to be showing you the steps that I take to give my client a high taper, so stick around to the end so that you do not miss the final results. To start off with this taper, I'm going in with the lever completely closed. Now I'm going in with the lever completely open here, giving myself a full inch just to give this taper a gradient look, the more stretched and blended effect, just to keep a consistency throughout this whole taper. My next step, I want to go in with the number 1 guard here. And what I'm doing here is just using a flick out motion. And I'm combing the hair back down to its natural position just so that I can go off of the shape of his head and start creating that blended effect into the taper, from the taper into the actual fro. The alternative would be to just go up in it straight up and just dig into the fro. My last guard, the final guard I'm gonna use on this taper, is a 1.5, and as you can see, I'm still using that flick out motion, combing the hair back down to its natural position, and I'm just shaping into that fro, slowly but surely, just blending into the bulk, but maintaining the darkness at the same time. And that's what the flick out motion is allowing me to do. And the reason that I say comb the hair back down to its natural position, because as you can see, if you go up in it with a guard with this texture, it's naturally gonna push the hair up and out of place. Here I'm freehanding the bulk over top of the taper just to continue to blend into that bulk and give myself a gradient smooth transition with the bulk without having to take a higher guard and go in and start trying to finagle with it or mess with it and start running up the taper way too high and end up going too high up into the fro. So I just want to take my time and create the illusion that it's blended and just start forming it basically what the guard is doing, but with this texture it's easier to just shape it. Here I'm dropping back down to my 0.5 guard, and now I'm going in with the lever halfway, just blending out that very bottom line. Slowly but surely, just nudging at the very bottom line. And if it does not take it out halfway, I'm gonna open up as I go higher and close it up as I go lower, because closing the lever cuts off more, as you can see here, completely bald. And the alternative is opening the lever completely, takes off less hair. Same exact steps here. I'm going in with the lever completely closed, and the way that I start my high taper is at the bottom of the vertical bar and typically towards the top of the ear where the ear meets the head. Somewhere in that range is typically where you will start your high taper, and that's just blending out the C-cup completely, balding that out and giving yourself enough space to start fading into the hairstyle on top. So when you get a client that wants a high fade or high taper, just imagine blending out or cutting off the C-cup completely and then dropping the line according to the client's head shape or the features. Also, typically with this texture, it's easier to just skip guards only because you want to create the illusion, but you do not want to overwork yourself or overplay your part. You do want to allow the clippers to do their work. And as you can see, I'm using the T45 and Babyliss new trimmers and clippers in this haircut. So I'm actually just getting a feel for these, and I'm on the second speed of these clippers, and it's actually going through this hair without snagging at all, which I love. And I'm using that 1.5 guard again at the top of this taper, and it's just doing its job. It's giving me what I'm looking for, smooth. And I do think that your clippers that you use are important, because if not, you'll run into the risk of pulling the client's hair or snagging the hair or just an overall uncomfortable situation. As you can see, they're just slicing off the bulk in the areas that I needed to, and it's creating efficiency for me, as well as allowing me to keep my schedule moving and allow the client to feel comfortable at the same time. 0 guard here, and I'm just nudging at the very bottom. I just want to maintain the darkness as well as blend the very bottom line out. So the way that you want to, I think of a fade is not putting in hard lines, but you want to set guides so that you can maintain consistency and stay locked in the area that you're supposed to be fading in. You don't want to put in such a hard line, but you want to have some type of reference as to where you are within your fade so that you don't lose your spot. But also, when you learn how hair works, you understand dark spots and you understand detail work. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. That's all I'm doing, is just using the corner of the blade and working my way through this taper, slowly but surely erasing darker spots and allowing the clippers to do the work. Very bottom line, I'm attacking it with the lever halfway and closing it as needed. However, understanding that I'm maintaining that darkness, so I don't want to go up too high. Same exact steps here on the back. The only difference is there's a little more room to cover, a little more surface area. So I'm going to give myself a lot more space when it comes to putting in those guidelines. As you can see, I'm going in with the lever completely closed, setting in the first initial guideline. This should be the hardest line that you ever put in. As you go up, you typically want to start making lines softer and softer, only to ensure that you don't run the risk of having a hard time getting it out, in which case we'll run the risk of pushing the fade too high if you don't know what you're doing. However, like I said, if you know how guards work and how hair works, you can't necessarily overplay the part and you allow the clippers to do what they're meant to do. Here I'm going in with the lever completely open. Like I said, a full inch up. 1.5 is the last guard that I'm going to be using, and right in between that, I'm using my one guard, just trying to give it as much blend as possible while flicking out so that I can create a consistency as well as set myself up for the next guard, keeping in mind that I'm going to go in with the size that I'm going to finish off with, so I don't want to overplay this. Very light is what I'm doing, very light strokes, just to make sure that I'm in and out. As you can see, freehanding as I'm going, because I already want to be able to blend in without having to do as much freehand work. However, I'm not going to skip and just not make this cut look like it's a good cut, or skip steps that's not going to create an overall good product, final product. I just want to maintain consistency with my efficiency. And with doing so, I want to understand what the next step is and just set myself up. And when you got systems in place, that's what you can do. You can set yourself up for success. Not going in these haircuts without an understanding of what it is that you are doing. So when I started cutting his hair, I knew exactly what I wanted it to look like at the finishing product, at the final product. And so I got that in mind this whole entire time, and exactly that is all I'm thinking about. Knowing how hair works, I'm going to be able to set myself up with a system to give myself the final product that he's looking for, as well as I know that I can be able to do. And with doing so, I'm going to give myself enough space in order to work through and make sure that this is possible. As you can see, I'm finishing off again with the lever halfway. Same exact steps on each taper. I'm doing the same exact things over and over all day. Repetition is the only way that you're going to sharpen your tools, sharpen your craft, and get better in this industry. If you have any questions or any concerns or thoughts, please be sure to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to respond to you. As well as if you feel like you struggling with something, please let it be known, and someone may be able to help you out or give you the answer that you're looking for, whatever it is. And also, we could just help each other and sharpen each other's tool and give each other some more gems, because in barbering, you don't never just got it all figured out. There's several ways to get to the same ending product. And so if you don't like what I'm doing, or you don't do it the way I do it, by all means, and know and understand that I'm not going to always do everything that you do. And it doesn't even matter, because at the end of the day, the only person that really is needing to be pleased here is the guy that's in the chair. And so that's what I'm doing my job to make sure that happens. As you can see here behind the ear, I'm just setting myself up, just forming the hair on top, just so that I can make sure, set myself up for success, set myself up to make sure that I can give him a crispy line up behind his ear and make sure that everything comes together as smooth as possible. I'm not going to cut any corners with this. I'm not going to skip nothing. I do know how to skip steps in the instant that I'm making sure that his fade is blurry as possible and not overworking. However, I can't skip steps when it comes to hair out of place or being able to set my client up to have the overall ending product that he's looking for. I want to make sure that I go above and beyond. And don't get me wrong, when I say skip steps, I don't mean just cut out on some work just so that I can make sure that I'm doing myself a favor and him a disservice. I want to make sure that I'm pleasing my client, as well as making sure that I'm being efficient and making sure he's not in the chair for 2 hours. And that's the things that you get to learn as you understanding the craft and understanding how the barbershop industry is, the barbershop itself, and how fast-paced it could be if you get booked. And if you're not booked, you got work to do. And don't get me wrong, everybody starts off not booked. I'm not saying this to shit on nobody. I'm not saying this to give nobody no type of hard feelings. I'm just saying, if you are not booked, the goal is to get booked, and you got work to do. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing and tell you that it's going to be easy, it's going to be smooth, you're going to make a lot of money, because you are going to make a lot of money, but you're going to have to do the work. It's not just gonna happen overnight. It's gonna happen when you in the shop, first one in, last one out. The clients that nobody else is willing to take. The clients that people get intimidated because of their hair texture, their hairstyle, what they want, how long their hair is, what texture it may be, as well as the clients that people miss because they leave the shop too early. They don't stick around late enough. That's when you're gonna make your money. That's when you're gonna build the clientele, the best relationships that you could ever even think about or even imagine. And people who become long-term clients as well as in lifetime friends, building good relationships and building good friendships with people who always be good to you and you be good to them, and the bond is unbreakable, and you just never know what it could transpire into. I've been cutting to some people for like the whole career that I've had, like the beginning and to now. I'm still cutting people. You know, people drop off, however. It's always about how available you are, and so when you get booked up, obviously people will stop coming. As you get super booked up, they'll stop coming as frequent. However, you still got good people who show up and pay good money and have good conversation, and overall build a standard and a structure within your whole foundation of your business that gives you word of mouth. It gives you people who go tell other people about it that gotta just come check it out. People that appreciate your consistency, that appreciate your punctuality, your professionalism and all of that, and they go tell somebody else about you because they just want everybody to be able to experience it because of how good of an experience that they had and how consistent you are. Also, the way that you seen that I set up the hairline, I started with the vertical bars first. I started in the middle and worked my way to the outside, and as you can see, it's a little thinner, a little lighter on the corners. However, I still made a ghost line for what was there and still made it connect, just so I can make sure that this hairline is full as possible without pushing it back too far. And I set the vertical bars in first only to give myself reference points. Here I'm starting with the goatee, just knocking off the bottom, and then I start at the sides in alignment with where the mustache stops at, roughly, so that I can give myself some type of symmetry and reference points. Here I'm going in with the razor. As you can see, the only way to do it is to angle the razor at a 45-degree angle, stretch the skin with the opposite finger and pull it back to the natural line. I'm trying to tell you, if you don't stretch the skin, you will cut your client, I promise you that. So be sure that you stretch the skin enough in order to give it a smooth slide. You don't want it to glide and skip. That's exactly when you're gonna cut your client. This is the final cut, and if you like this video, be sure to like this video. Let me know what you like or don't like about this video in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell. My name is Kel, and I'll catch you in the next one.